and welcome back to SuperTrader TV's London Market Action. Yaron, now it's time, after all those talking, to start to trade. You mentioned, yes?
I would like to buy some coffee.
You would like to buy some coffee.
Yeah,
as Yaron mentioned,
I can't because it's under a very strong resistance level, and
this is not the right timing to trade with coffee.
It's not, no.
Okay, so which asset presents a trade opportunity right now?
Of course, after the last forecasting process, we have to go and take the action. Aussie versus the Canadian dollar.
I will just tell our viewers that although both currencies are consolidating today, we are expecting the Canadian dollar to strengthen versus the Australian dollar.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's start. What is the product that we're going to use? Binary options, long term. What are we going to use in this trade?
We are going to use the binary option as we have a clear opportunity right now. Short-term time frame until the end of the day. Aussie versus Canadian dollar, we are going to see a sharp decline in this asset. We already saw the first movement during the last hour, and now this is the time to take it further to the downside. Let's go and take the expiry, the last expiry today.
Okay, the last expiry is 8 p.m. GMT. Yes, let's continue. Okay, so right now, after we chose the asset, after we chose the product, of course, and the expiry, this is the time to talk about the amount that we're going to invest, how much we're going to invest in this trade.
We have to look at our market outlook panel as our money management system,
panel, of course,
because this is the right time in order to assess our risk, to extrapolate our risk. It's not a common intraday trading activity. It is although it's intraday, we are widening our time frame in order to increase our success level, and that's why we have to go over the money management system and understand what is the expected risk.
Okay, I'll just tell our viewers that when we decide how much we want to invest in the trade, we have two indicators that are very important. One is the product that we're using, whether it's binary options, 60 seconds long term, and of course the probability of success. Combined together presents us the amount we're going to invest. Let's start for this trade. Right now, binary options.
Binary options, our basic investment per trade is $50. Here we have more than 75% success. My time optimization panel suggests that 4 out of my 5 indicators suggest that this is the right timing in order to take the trade. $75, this is the amount that I'm willing to risk.
Okay, so as you mentioned, we are going to invest $75 in this trade. Going back to the platform, let's enter the amount. Once again, we are trading the Australian dollar versus the Canadian dollar, taking this trade in favor of the Canadian dollar, which means we're taking it to the downside. Okay. Good.
I don't know what to do now because I have one opportunity in the 60 seconds.
You have an opportunity in the 60 seconds? Tell us about it. Share.
Let's take a look at the 60 seconds and see if we have the Aussie versus Canadian dollar.
What happened all of a sudden that we have an opportunity?
We are hitting a very strong resistance level, intraday resistance level.
I think I'm going to disappoint you.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Anyway, usually I'm not using this product.
Yeah, 60 seconds, as we know, is a bit risky product to use. You have to have a sharp momentum so you'll be able to trade it wisely and not just do irrational decisions.
Correct.
So if we're going to continue, I mean, of course we are, what is the next product we're going to focus on?
We have perfect situation now in the market where the US dollar is strengthening during the beginning of London trading session. We saw a sharp upward movement by the US dollar versus the euro versus all its major counterparts, and this is the point where I would like to take a position against the US dollar again.
In favor of which currency?
In favor of relatively strong currencies, of course, New Zealand dollar and Canadian dollar. And we can start with New Zealand dollar.
Okay, and as we mentioned, the New Zealand dollar, after presenting positive prints yesterday, the New Zealand dollar is advancing today, but we're going to trade only during today's trading session with the New Zealand dollar and, of course, versus the US dollar, which means in this trade, we're going to use the binary options product.
Oh, it's perfect. We have more than 90% success right now, so it's
really?
Great.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great.
It's very high.
We are reaching to a very, very strong support level. We are correcting sharply, moving straight forward to the consolidation level, the previous consolidation level, which presents as a very strong support. Let's take a look at the expiry. I would like to select two expiries.
Okay.
The first one is to the end of the day,
11 p.m. GMT.
Yes, let's take a look at our money management system and take
Decide
a decision.
how much.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so uploading our money management, as Yaron mentioned, and as we mentioned before, very important process to go over the money management and then to decide how much to invest.
Okay, again, we are in binary option product. Here, our basic investment per trade is $50. Here we have more than 90% success. All the indicators suggest that this is the right time in order to take it to the upside, a pullback position. Again, in favor of New Zealand dollar against US dollar, $100, that's what I'm willing to risk.
Okay, sounds good. Going back to our trading platform, as Yaron mentioned, for this trade, the New Zealand dollar versus the US dollar, we are going to invest $100 as the probability of success is very high. And once again, we're taking this trade in favor of the New Zealand dollar to the upside.
Correct. Now we have another opportunity for much shorter time frame. Actually, I would go to 9 a.m. GMT, and this is the point where I will reduce my risk exposure as we are increasing the number of occurrences, the number of trades we are making, and we are shortening the time frame. The time frame is very, very short actually for the upcoming hour. Usually we are reducing the risk exposure for each and every trade, although we have high probability of success. So here we are just risking the minimum amount under our money management system, which is currently $50. We are going to take 9 and 8:30, both of them.
Okay, we're going to take all the expiries actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so in this trade, as Yaron mentioned, we are going to invest $50.
We have great opportunity. That's why we have to take the advantage, and we have to split the.
I think you click on the put.
I clicked on.
Okay, so here as well, same asset, New Zealand dollar versus US dollar, taking it to the upside in favor of the New Zealand dollar.
Correct, but here we managed to correct ourselves as we have a confirmation, and usually it is great and it's very important to confirm your position. Although I was wrong in my action, I could correct it. I have 3 seconds until the position will be approved. Just like here, we have the approval window, which is very important. It prevents me from
making mistakes, of course, and it
great.
Happens to all of us. So right now, let's shift to the third expiry, which is 8:30 a.m. GMT. I'm assuming we're going to invest in this trade $50 as well.
It's the same activity. We are around the same market conditions. We have to remain consistent, and consistency is very important to our trading activity, and that's why we are taking the same amount to the upside.
Okay, and of course we didn't approve, but the position was approved. We took 3 positions with the New Zealand dollar versus the US dollar, and we mentioned that for the long run, we're going to buy gold.
Correct.
And as we know, when we're trading for the long run, we don't have, maybe we do have, correct me if I'm wrong, but time optimization is less important because right now we're trading for the long run. We're expecting this asset to improve, to advance.
Absolutely. If we are taking a trade more than few days from now, it is the time optimization is less relevant, and as we are forecasting the upcoming future, and in the upcoming future we are very bullish on gold, especially after the last FOMC meeting, and that's what we are going to do. We are going to take a position in favor of gold. We are going to increase our risk exposure, of course, in favor of gold to the upcoming
months. We mentioned 1 to 3 months. So right now, from binary options, we are shifting to the long-term product.
Correct.
And once again, from currencies, we're shifting to commodities. Gold is already in, so the next process is going to be choosing the expiry that's going to serve the best for this trade.
I'm going to take 2 expiries. First of all, I think that the best expiry for now, as I see the market, is 29 of May. 29,
Okay.
29 of May is going to be after the last GDP print that will come out from the US market, and I'm expecting this GDP to be much lower than expected, and much lower than, maybe much lower than 2%, which is the current value, or a bit lower than the current value, and I'm expecting this GDP to be much lower. The US markets are going to correct, to depreciate. Gold is going to accelerate. As we know, gold prices usually are...
Gold is the biggest substitute for the US dollar. When the US dollar is depreciating, gold is advancing. I mean, when we see major movements.
Of course, gold prices are quoted by US dollars.
True, yes.
At least here, 1,181 US dollar per ounce, and that's why we are taking this trade to the upside.
Okay, so right now we're trading gold. We have a first expire, which is 29th of May, of course. And the question is how much we're going to invest. And for this, we're going to upload once again our money management panel and to go over it, and then to decide how much is the right amount to invest.
Absolutely.
Tell me how much we're going to invest in this trade.
Okay, we are in the long-term product. Our basic investment per trade is $75 US. Here we have more than 75% success. 4 out of my 5 indicators suggest it's the right timing, both short-term and long-term, and this is why I'm going to take a risk of $150 US.
Impressive. Going back to our trading platform, as Yaron mentioned, in this trade, we are trading right now gold. We are going to invest $150. And once again, we are bullish right now on gold. We're expecting that in the long futures, we're going to see higher values for gold, and therefore we are taking this trade to the upside. Okay. Approve, of course. Right now we have 7 more minutes in today's London market action, and I would love to hear from you. What other assets present a trading opportunity in today's session?
Of course, we still have time for the S&P.
The S&P 500, as we mentioned, after the US Fed announced their postponed their interest rate hike, since then we can see that the US main indexes are advancing. Are we going to be bullish or bearish on the S&P 500?
For today, we are going to be bullish as the US market is depreciating, presenting minus 0.2% downward movement, and it's great because by the beginning of the New York session, I'm expecting that the S&P 500 will cover its intraday loss, and this is why I'm going to take a position to the upside in favor of S&P or Nasdaq or both of them.
Okay, so I'm curious, as you mentioned, we're going to trade in favor of the S&P 500 for today. So we're going to trade binary options.
Correct.
Okay, so I'm very curious to see what expiry you're going to choose from the expiries list. And once again, we're shifting from currencies to indexes. Choosing the S&P 500 and going over the expiry list. Okay, not many possibilities that we have.
No, it's perfect because, as I mentioned, until the end of the day, or at least until the beginning of the New York session today, I'm expecting that the S&P will pair its intraday losses. We are going to, and in my view, we are going to see fresh new highs for the S&P 500. We are going to cross 2,120 during the upcoming week, at least, and this is the right point, this is the right time in order to take the position while we are at the bottom.
So right now I want to ask you, because we don't have major economic events today in the European and the New York sessions, what do you think is going to cause the S&P 500 to advance with any major events that are going to push it to the upside?
It's just continuation after the last FOMC meeting and after the last bullish bias. It's just a continuation of the market action. We have the same market sentiment. The market sentiment is very clear in favor of the US indexes. This is the main investment channel of investors worldwide, until we will have a different channel or alternative for the US market. We have some alternatives, but it's not there yet. We have the Chinese market, which is priced relatively cheap, especially the real estate, but it's a bit riskier for now. For me, I know this is my comfort zone.
Okay, so I'm with you. If we're going to trade the S&P 500 for the upcoming till the end of the day, actually, how much we're going to invest in this trade?
Okay, it's again, we are in the binary option product. We shouldn't upload the money management system.
But we did, so let's go over it.
So we did. It's the same. It's the same trade ID. It's the same probability of success. More than 75% success here. $75, just like New Zealand dollar versus US dollar. Sorry.
You're choking.
And all, yeah.
You feel good?
Yeah, I feel good.
Okay.
I'm okay. I just choke a bit, but it's okay.
Okay, so let's continue. Yes.
Okay, $75. This is the amount that I'm willing to risk. I think it's appropriate. It's the same trade idea and the same strategy, just like New Zealand versus US dollar end of the day trade. And this is what we're going to take.
So as Yaron mentioned, we are going to invest $75 in this trade, entering the amount. And once again, we are trading S&P 500. And we are expecting the S&P to advance, to rebound actually, after
Correct.
Right now it's relatively low, till the end of the day, as our expiry is 8 p.m. GMT. Okay.
And now I have one more
Trade. Okay, the last one right now. We have 3 more minutes.
Yes, so this one is for dessert. We know that the US dollar strengthened during the beginning of the trading session, presenting great selling opportunity, and we sold it, of course, versus the New Zealand dollar, or we took a call position in favor of New Zealand against the US dollar. Now, I would like to take a position against the US dollar in favor of the Canadian dollar. US versus Canadian put position for the long term.
For the long term?
Correct.
This is going to be interesting.
Long and short term, we can do both if we have time.
So right now we're in the binary options. So let's start with the binary options. As you mentioned, although the Canadian dollar is depreciating today 0.20% and the US dollar is advancing 0.30%, you are expecting the Canadian dollar
Correct.
to strengthen versus the US dollar.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's do it. So binary options, going back to currencies. Choosing, of course, the asset from the assets list. And here it is. US dollar versus the Canadian dollar. I'm very curious to see what is the expiry that you're going to choose.
Okay, we are in binary option. It's great. Let's take it to the end of the day, because we are sitting in a very strong resistance level. Intraday, we are moving much higher, and this is the point where I would like to take it to the downside until the end of the day, just like the S&P 500, upward movement or call position, New Zealand versus US dollar call position. Here we have a put position opportunity. It's the same strategy, the same trade idea, and that's why we are willing to risk $75 as we have to remain consistent. And of course, the probability of success is around 80%, which present the same sentiment or the same measure.
Okay, $75 for this trade. And once again, we are trading the US dollar versus the Canadian dollar. We are going to take this trade in favor of the Canadian dollar,
Correct.
Which means this asset, we're going to take it to the downside.
Now we have another opportunity. Of course, long term, I'm going to increase my exposure in favor of Canadian dollar. And let's take a look at the
US dollar
expiry
versus the Canadian dollar
Yes.
as well. Okay.
So again, I prefer April, somewhere around April.
Let's see.
April 30 of April would be perfect. Yes.
Okay. So this is a long-term product. We are going to upload our money management panel once again, and we are going to see how much is the right amount for this trade, right? What?
Well, we don't need to.
We don't need? Okay,
Again,
so
it's
tell
the
me.
same process like the gold. It's the same trade idea. It's the same market measurements, same strategy. We are going to take $150 risk, and it's absolutely the same sentiment, because when I'm expecting the US dollar to depreciate, I'm expecting gold to appreciate. We took
The
150
Canadian dollar or gold? Oh,
US dollar, and that's why We invested or we risked $150 in our previous trade on gold, and here we are going to do the same.
Hold on.
$150.
for this trade. Once again, we are trading the US dollar versus the Canadian dollar, and also in this time, we're going to trade in favor of the Canadian dollar.
Correct.
So this pair is going down.
That's it.
That's it.
This is a very intensive beginning of new trading
we took
week.
many trades today. That was good because
Many.
I'm really happy that we had high volatility, which present many opportunities, and I hope this high volatility is going to continue also for today's New York session as well.
Yes, but we have to remain, as we mentioned in our top 5 tips for today, we have to be very careful. We can get unexpected movement by the market. As we see now, the US dollar is strengthening, and this is not what traders expected, and we have to remain very cautious. We have to understand the news to see if something is changing during the trading day. We don't have any preferred strategy, as we don't know what to expect. The market is under high volatility measurements, but the first movement was in favor of the US dollar against other currencies. So we have to pay attention to the market.
And I think this is the right way to trade. After going over the market, we have to know the market, and then we can look for trade opportunities.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you for today.
Thank you.
Thank you as well for joining us today in our London pre-market and market action sessions. If you have any questions, you are more than welcome to write us to info@SuperTraderTV.com. We'll be back again this afternoon with New York market action. See you then.